What's really neat about our research profiles, our research modules here in IMG Helping Hands is that no matter where you are in the world, what are the publication fees? Don't worry. That is completely, in IMG Helping Hands. Our goal here is to show you, the practicing, the learning of research writing, of manuscript creating. All right, so we'll be getting started in today's webinar. As always, it's such a pleasure meeting everybody, seeing everybody. My name is Dr. Erica, and I am from Team IMG Helping Hands. This week, as always, we love bringing you different topics to talk about, different ways that you can enhance your residency application, how to be a more competitive applicant. And on this week's webinar, we are going to be talking about the different research pathways that we have as IMGs, from publication to postdoc positions, and just really ways how international medical graduates, how us as IMGs can enhance our profiles through research, through publications, poster presentations, and so forth. As always, I do welcome everybody, to ask questions if you have any questions, if you have any doubts, and any way that we can continue helping you and supporting you as IMG Helping Hands. And so I do want to just firstly want to see where everybody here is from. As you know, I'm an individual who studied in Mexico. I studied in Guadalajara. And so I would say that I'm from Mexico and from Texas. Again, I'm eager to know where everybody's from. And the meeting, is always, all of our meetings are expected to last anywhere about an hour or so. So from now up until, I want to say 55 minutes from now, I will be going over again just different opportunities that you can take advantage of here in IMG Helping Hands to become a more competitive applicant. And again, as I go through the presentation, any questions and comments are welcome. All right, so there's individuals from UAE, individuals from Jamaica, from the UK, Mohammed. That is awesome and that is amazing. I love seeing where everybody's from. And I am going to be treating this a little bit similar to the way we have our orientations. Again, just really giving you an introduction on IMG Helping Hands, our modules, and so forth. One of the first things I like to do is to see where the individuals are from, because I think it's so amazing. Just really, regardless of where everybody's from, everybody has that common goal, of enhancing your research profile. So regardless whether you're from Bangladesh, from Pakistan, Grenada, oh my gosh, St. Vincent, again, everybody here has the common goal of strengthening your applications. So again, it's so amazing that regardless of where you're from, what's really neat about our research profiles, our research modules here in IMG Helping Hands is that no matter where you are in the world, you get to connect with individuals similar to those who are in the chat right now, and you will be working together to create and write out your research modules. So again, this is what we're going to be focusing on today. Just really talking about our research modules. I'm going to be giving you guys a brief introduction about our research modules, and again, just ways that they can help you overall in your applications, regardless of where you're going to be applying to. So again, in our research modules, regardless of whether you do systematic, we have systematic reviews, we have narrative reviews. All of these modules, they do span anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks. Oh my gosh, I think it's amazing. Again, seeing that we have some individuals from Pakistan, from Russia. Welcome everybody, and thank you again for providing input, letting me know where you're from. Again, our modules span anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, and all of them with the common goal of publishing. So all of our research modules, they do end in publication. You do not have to worry about publication fees, as these are, this is something that is a benefit from IMG Helping Hands. And throughout those 4 to 6 weeks, again, I do just want to inform everybody, there is no ghost authorship. So being that you are part of those 4 to 6 weeks, You are going to be part of different workshops, different lectures, and everything is going to be tailored to you. So regardless of whether this is your first research experience, whether you have prior research experience as well, again, what's really neat about being part of these research modules that we have is that you get individualized, personalized research as well. So again, I am curious to know if there are individuals who have prior research experience. If maybe this is something of interest, you might not have done research in the past. Again, as always, I love having very interactive sessions. So if you would like to share whether you've done past research or not, I'm always eager to know. And so again, with our modules, this is going to be more of a Q&A webinar where we're just going to be, again, sharing the overall structure of our modules, what to expect, and so forth. And again, essentially, regardless of where you're at in your research journey, you will be having the support not only from your research mentor, but also from the cohort that you are going to be participating in. So you will be having individuals that you get to lean on, whether it is their first time or with experience, and you're all going to be guided throughout your module by your research mentor. Research mentors that we have here in IMG Helping Hands, they are individuals with extensive research experience as well. So you are going to be guided throughout those 4 to 6 weeks in anything and everything pertaining to manuscript writing. Again, and this is why this activity is ideal. These activities are ideal for anyone of any experience level, because if you're just starting out from scratch, even if you're just starting out from scratch, you can definitely go from no research experience to a publication in 4 to 6 weeks, and what's better than that, especially now that we are in, the residency app cycle. I know we are currently anticipating interviews as well. And even if you are not going to participate in the cycle, there's no better time to get started and just really, get involved in research as well, so that you can have some research experience by the time you apply to either residency or any postdoc positions. And I am seeing here that, Noreen, you have 4 to 5 publications, and that is amazing. So I think, you would be more than ready for these research modules that we have. And again, these are the kind of individuals that you are going to be working with, which again, everybody gets to lean on one another, everybody gets to help one another, and everybody just works together to just write out your manuscript. And in the topic of that, I do also want to mention that we do have different topics for our manuscripts available, which is another amazing opportunity that we have here in IMG Helping Hands, regardless of whether, again, you are pursuing a postdoc position or you are going into residency. If you are pursuing a particular area of interest. Suppose you are maybe looking into dermatology, you want to do something skin related, perhaps neuro, or perhaps psychiatry, you name it. Regardless of the area of interest that you have, definitely you could reach out either to myself or others, and we'd be more than happy to share what are the current available modules that we have for our research. And if for some reason you do not see or find the research topics available that are compatible with your pursuits and what you are pursuing, your specialty and so forth, you're always more than welcome to pitch it to us. And, we can definitely get another module started. That way it could be the best fit for, again, your professional pursuits. So again, it's really neat the way you can go about these research modules. And again, this is speaking on the narrative reviews. We do also, like I said, have systematic reviews. I know we had CDC Wonder research review modules available as well. And again, the benefit of these, the structure is very similar. Everybody has their mentor. You get to write out, you get to do the data extraction and so forth. And at the end, you get your publication. So again, at the end, as you continue writing out your modules, as you continue writing out your manuscript throughout your module, you will be receiving input from your mentor, which I think is amazing as well. There is no moment where you do not have the support from a mentor, is really what I want to get to as well. Anytime you have any questions, any doubts, your mentor is always there. You do have that 24/7 support from your mentor too. And then towards the end, another really neat thing that I appreciate about these modules is just really that, your articles are also proposed to high index journals. And these high index journals can either be suggested by your research mentor, or they can be chosen by yourself. If there is, let's say, a journal that you are interested in publishing in, let's say you're interested in maybe like annals of surgery, or you are interested in curious, you're interested in, regardless of the journal that you are interested in, you can definitely pitch it out to your mentor as well. And again, you do get that opportunity to possibly publish in a journal of your choice too. So again, there's so many benefits from these research modules that we have. And then once you receive a response from your research, from the research journals, from the manuscripts on whether or not you are prospected to propose to publish soon. Once you finish and you do have your publication down, you will be receiving also a certificate of completion. So again, there's so many benefits that you have in these modules, because as you are going throughout the course of your manuscript writing, again, you not only get to learn about the basics of manuscript writing, but you also get to practice them as well. And not only do you get to learn and practice them, but you get to do this under the guidance of experienced individuals too. So again, this is just a really unique and neat opportunity that is available. And again, as you go throughout the research writing component and you go through this with the support of your mentor, again, you also get opportunities to choose where you get to publish. So, once you put all of this together, essentially in your applications, whether you are pursuing either residency, as I mentioned, or you are pursuing a postdoc position, regardless of where you're going, they do have that research component integrated into curriculums. And so everybody just wants to know, what is your research experience at the end of the day, right? And so if you are pursuing either a postdoc position, like I said, a residency position or so forth, you could let them know that, you have participated in IMG Helping Hands, that you got to do manuscript writing, you have that manuscript writing experience, you have the data extraction experience, you have the experience to essentially reference, that really what constitutes, the structure of a manuscript, what goes into writing a manuscript and so forth. And, you can definitely use that in your application to just really use that as a strength in, again, upcoming cycles. And again, going into that, another thing that I also wanted to share with y'all, which is also really neat, something that we just started integrating in IMG Helping Hands, is again, what is another step? We are always thinking about, how can we take things a step further? How can we take things to the next level? And as of recent, I know I did mention that we have our narrative reviews. For those who are just coming in, welcome everybody. And as I mentioned, we do have our narrative review opportunities, our systematic reviews. We did have, for a limited time, our CDC Wonder Research modules as well. And we do like to have, limited opportunities, limited time opportunities. And so in those limited opportunities as well, I did also want to share that again, in taking things a step further, in publishing, sometimes there are instances where our now shifting gears a little bit into the systematic reviews, we do have instances where not only these systematic reviews are proposed for publishing, right, as we do with our narrative as well, but again, taking things a step further, let's say you are going into cardiology. People in residencies or in postdoc positions want to see that you are involved in cardiology. They see that you have the publication, but what else can you do? You know, you can also publish, right? And so in those 4 to 6 weeks, in those 6 to 8 weeks, as I mentioned, we do also have opportunities where you not only get to publish your research, but in some instances as well. And if you are part of our research communities, let me share the link for mine here. We do share opportunities where for limited manuscripts, we do also propose them to conferences. And again, how amazing is it that not only can you say that you have prior research writing experience, you are involved in research, but you are also involved in a conference presentation, poster manuscript. And so again, this is another thing that we just recently implemented here at IMG Helping Hands. Let me just share the link once again. And again, if anybody has any questions at any time, please don't hesitate to drop them in the chat. And again, I do want to commend the individuals who do have the prior experience, all the individuals who have so far been providing input, letting me know where you're from. Again, whether or not you have experience, just really, reacting and everything. I really do commend you guys truly, because this is truly the first, this is how you set yourself apart through leadership. This is how you are showing your leadership, through having that initiative, by sharing about yourself, by putting yourself out there. This is, people want to know, how do you make yourself stand out, in applications? How do you make yourself a remarkable person? And just really when it comes to, again, whether it is putting yourself out there for research for a conference or for a postdoc position or for residency. It's not about the person who has checked the most boxes, but really about who puts themselves out there the most, who takes advantage of, all the opportunities, any and all opportunities that are out there. So again, individuals who have been inputting in the chat so far, again, I do commend you guys. I commend everybody who's here in this meeting also, because again, this also shows your initiative. This shows that you are a leader. This shows that you have that interest to strengthen yourself, to just really put your best self forward. So again, this isn't just about how we can support you, but this webinar is also showing, about who you are as a leader as well. So again, I do just want to give everybody a round of applause, commend everybody in this meeting, and everybody who has been inputting. So I am seeing here again, Sarwar Mohammed. Hello, hello. So the papers, how long does it take to get them published? That is actually an excellent question. And this generally depends on the journal. It depends on it depends on a couple different components. So there are different instances where I myself have also participated in the research modules with IMG Helping Hands. And in my experience with our research publishing, like I said, they do, and also having monitored, being part of, supervising other groups as well. There is a variety of factors that can contribute to your publication. So firstly, it is the journals that you choose. Some journals have they do have a certain timeline that they follow. Some journals, again, this is in addition to the 4 to 6 weeks. So I do want you guys to keep this in mind. In addition to the 4 to 6 weeks that you have invested with your mentor, as I mentioned earlier, everybody's writing, there's no ghost authorship. And so again, this is only another benefit for you, because you get that you get that manuscript writing experience. After those 4 to 6 weeks, you pitch out your manuscript. Your mentor pitches out your manuscript to, again, journals of your choice, and some journals can publish anywhere between a couple of months to maybe 4 months, 6 months, again, and this is dependent also on the quality of the manuscript. And so I do want to point out as well that in that manuscript that you are writing, you are having the mentorship from your research coordinator, your research mentor. Before you do pitch out your manuscript to the journals, you do also have some final I want to say proofreading sessions where your mentor will point out whether the let's say the diction is appropriate, maybe some grammatical errors are there, certain things with your graphics, the any visual information that you're putting out there, if anything needs to be modified, that is done with your research mentor initially, and then it is proposed to the journal. So again, that is another factor. Firstly, it could just be, as I mentioned earlier, the timeliness of the journal itself. Some journals, because of the influx of manuscripts that are coming in, it might take longer than others to send out a response. Secondly, again, the quality of your work. We do send out the best, your final draft, so to say, to those journals. But again, some journals might have some journal specific requirements as well. Maybe they might have certain word counts, they might have certain graphic, visual requirements as well. Again, when you receive the input from the editorial team, again, we'll be modifying that information as well. So again, however long that takes will also have some impact to your publication time. All of this is what's taken into account when I say that it may take about, a couple of weeks to a couple of months when it comes to publication. But at the end of the day, publishing is a given. It is a yes. So it's not whether you may or may not publish, it is that you ultimately will. And if for some reason you get a rejection from a journal, again, this is why we also have alternatives as well. You are proposed with different alternatives of journals as well, all of them being high index journals. So again, it's not whether one is more than the other, so to say, but rather that you have journal A, B, and C to choose from, which again, I think is a really neat way to go about your publishing. And so those are really the things that need to get taken into account when it comes to the overall publication aspect, if that makes sense. I hope that answers your question, Sir War. And again, that's why there's no concrete answer of it takes 2 weeks or it takes 5 months or because everybody's manuscript is going to be different, especially if you are pursuing different specialties. Again, some specialties, some journals, the demand that the journal has, again, so many different things that are taken into consideration, but again, that are ultimately taken into account for your publication. Now, I do also want to remind everybody that while you do have your manuscript in that publication process, as I mentioned, you already have your manuscript done. And again, welcome everybody who is just coming in as well. Once you have your manuscript done, again, as I reminded everybody, you are going to be having the support of your mentor, having the support of your colleagues. You will be having that individualized and tailored guidance as well. So again, you don't follow a certain, like a recorded type of, breakdown when it comes to writing out your manuscript, going through your tailored journey based on your experience, based on your, cohort and so forth, again, that, once you go through those 4 to 6 weeks in writing your manuscript, then from there is some I don't want to say delay, but there is a waiting time so that you can hear from the publisher side. So again, those are just a few things to take into account when it comes to the publication. But as you're waiting as well, you can definitely use that in your CV in, let's say, your either residency or postdoc applications, and say that you do have that experience. When it comes to the interview, if you have your interview and your manuscript is under that pending, you have sent out your manuscript, you receive the editorial requirements, and you are currently under that phase, but you have an interview tomorrow, you can definitely let interviewers know as well that, again, you have undergone the manuscript writing process, which again is the biggest, I want to say, is the most important part, because without a manuscript, you won't have, or you wouldn't really have a paper to propose to a journal, right? So that would essentially be kind of a waiting period situation. You can definitely let institutions know that you have that writing experience. You know what goes into writing a manuscript. You know what goes into the publication process and so forth. And now, again, being that you've already written everything out, you've already proposed it to a journal. It's not a matter of if, but now it's of when, and you have that certificate of completion that you earn from IMG Helping Hands, again, to back that up essentially. And so I am seeing a question here from Car, with regards to the conferences, how can you join presentations? How can you be part of presentations if you are doing clinical rotations? That is an excellent question as well, Car. And again, I do hope I am pronouncing your name correctly. I apologize if I am mispronouncing it. It's, it's something that I appreciate. I do my best with that. But when it comes to conferences, again, here at IMG Helping Hands, firstly, I do want to remind everybody, as I mentioned in the beginning of our webinar, that we do our best to bring you different topics, different ways to strengthen your applications for either postdoc or residencies, and so there are different ways that you can stay up to date with conferences. If you, again, using cardiology as an example, if you are pursuing cardiology, definitely staying up to date with the cardiology conferences, any subspecialty conferences and so forth. You can look them up online or here in IMG Helping Hands, as I said, being part of our research communities, all of the research communities that we have. Some of the projects that we do carry are proposed to conferences. And so again, if you are pursuing a certain conference, you could even work with us here at IMG Helping Hands, and you can use that tailored mentorship to ultimately propose that manuscript to a conference. So again, I do want to remind everybody about that as well, that again, not only do our manuscripts go for publication, but there are some limited opportunities as well where they are proposed for conferences. And again, the conference protocol structure is very similar to the publication, where again you write out your manuscript with your cohort alongside your mentor. It is proposed to a conference, and then you are given a response on whether it is accepted or not. And so recently we did have some proposals for cardiology. We did have some that we sent out, and so I am really excited to say that there are individuals who can now put in their CV that they have that conference experience, that they have that not just publication, but that they have manuscript being featured at a conference, in their CVs. And so if you are doing clinical rotations, and again, you are working with one of our modules that are going to be proposed for conferences, you can definitely get in touch with us so that we could see, again, the possibilities of possibly even presenting, so that not only is your manuscript featured in a conference, but to possibly even go and present it yourself. Again, always thinking about ways that we can make things bigger. How can we take things to the next level, and so I do hope that answers your question, Color. when it comes to being part of conferences, the way that IMG Helping Hands can support you in being part of conferences. Again, just getting in touch with us when the time comes, because again, the opportunities, I do want to warn you guys that the manuscripts that we do have, I mean, really all of them, they tend to go rather quickly, but I have found that our conference proposed manuscripts do go a bit quicker. So I do just want to give y'all a heads up in that regard. But again, when the time comes and you do sign up to participate in a manuscript that is proposed to a conference, again, when the time comes, definitely let us know that you're here in the States. Definitely let us know, just really how your overall schedule is looking like. And then we can go from there to see how we can continue supporting you in that conference presenting journey, if that makes sense. Right. And is everybody still able to hear me? I'm kind of seeing that. I hope I'm not chopping up too much. I hope my voice and video is not buffering too much, but again, do let me know. And Sorori Hafsa, excellent question as well. If you have no research experience, like I said to everybody, whether you have zero research experience, past research experience, and as I mentioned earlier too, thank you for letting us know if you do or do not have research experience, because to be honest, that is not a requirement for our research modules here at IMG Helping Hands. And to be honest, I did start when I was participating with IMG Helping Hands. I started with no research experience as well, very minimal research experience, no publications whatsoever either. So again, this is something that even I can speak on as somebody who has participated with IMG Helping Hands, that regardless of whether you do or do not, is not going to be a determinant for your eligibility, nor a detriment or a determinant for your future success. I do want to remind everybody, like I said earlier, just you being here is the determinant of your success. The fact that you're putting yourselves out there, the fact that you're seeking out opportunities, the fact that you are taking advantage of those opportunities, regardless of your experience level, that is what's more telling of you as a leader, as someone with initiative, and again, as making yourself stand out. So again, I do want to remind everybody, if you do not have research experience, this is what these modules are for. Because again, as I mentioned earlier in earlier in the webinar, you are placed with a cohort, and this isn't going to be for any topic. This is going to be for a topic that is specific to your specialty interests. And again, being part of the research community that I posted earlier is where we share all of our opportunities. And let me once again share it. So again, this link that I'm providing to you is where we have our research community, where we have our opportunities, both rolling opportunities and limited time opportunities. There are some that, again, go by super duper quickly. There's some that are one-time only opportunities. There's some that may not even be, I don't want to say not research related, but they are definitely opportunities that can make you a well-rounded applicant. And I'll leave it at that, And so in that research community that we have is where we have our upcoming modules. The way you go about registering is you choose the specialty or the topic of your choice. You let us know. And then from there, once we finalize your registration, that's it. So again, we do not ask you if you have your steps done. We do not ask you if you are or are not a medical student, or where, you are in your medical journey or so forth. We have individuals who have participated with us, who have spanned from medical students, semester 1, year 1, to individuals who are residents, who are physicians, individuals who are looking after patients, And so again, the reason here is because it's about your interest in research, your dedication to the field, and essentially the topics that we present in our research communities. And if there is a certain topic that you're interested in, I know some individuals have told me, I'm interested in pediatrics. We do pitch them out, and we do our best to, like I said, continue supporting your endeavors in that regard. I've had individuals come to me and say that they are only interested in plastic surgery, or they're only interested in endocrinology. Again, all of this is heard by the team. We do listen, we do hear you. I do also want to remind you that there are a lot of messages and a lot of interest. And so again, I do appreciate you guys there in that regard too. And so once you see the topic of your choice, or if it's pitched and later proposed in the groups, like I said, you register, you join, and then from there you are, going through the manuscript writing process with your mentor. You are never alone. And so I do want to remind you guys about that. You are never alone. You are having individualized lectures with your mentor. You will be receiving individualized lectures. You will be having that 24/7 support once you are in your research group. And you not only have the support from your mentor, but you have the support from your colleagues as well. And so again, in that CV experience that you get to mention come interviews, if you are someone with no research experience, you can say that you have that research experience, like I mentioned earlier. Likewise, if you are someone with past research experience, again, how can you say, how can you articulate your experience here at IMG Helping Hands in your CV? If you're someone with past research experience, you can mention that you have guided others, because as I mentioned, this is a team effort. Everybody writes, everybody learns, everybody gets to practice and publish. There's no ghost authorship, like I said. You get to say that you have helped and guided others. And again, whether you have helped and guided others, or whether you are taking the first step, they are both excellent signs of leadership that you can communicate. So I do just want to remind you guys of that. And let me just go down the questions as well. I do hope, Hafsa, that this does answer your question. And if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate, to include them in the chat. Everybody else, like I said, who has been inputting questions, just mentioning things. Again, I love having very interactive sessions. And so I'm really happy that I get to, we get to have this interactive webinar collectively, just really going over how the, going from modules to either residency or postdoc positions, how you can get there through our support here at IMG Helping Hands and the opportunities. And so let me just go down a couple more questions. And so again, as I mentioned, Sarwar, we do publish two different journals. We have done, Curious. We have done plastic surgery journals. That was actually one of the research manuscripts that I completed with my group. So we did get to propose it to its specialty respective journal. As I mentioned also, if you have a journal that you would like to propose it to, again, definitely take advantage of that. Take that initiative. The opportunity is basically being handed to you. If there is a journal that you have in mind, and if there's one that you are interested in, maybe you've always wanted to publish in a certain journal, but maybe either you're unsure on how to go about it, or regardless of the reason, you can definitely pitch it to the group when the time comes. So I do want to remind you of that, Sawar, and everybody else, that is definitely an option. If not, likewise, you are provided recommendations by your mentor as well. And so we have done cardiology related journals. unfortunately, again, don't recall the specific names because we have done just many journals that they've been proposed to. But again, I do want to assure everybody that they are specialty specific. They are also high index journals, and again, at the end of the day, are ultimately published. And so I do just want to keep that in mind, remind everybody of that as well. I do hope that answers your question, Sarvar. And yes, so excellent question, Shoaib. Again, I do hope I am pronouncing your name correctly. And thank you again, everybody who is uh, providing questions, comments, all the input. Yes. So again, I do want to remind you, after you complete the course, after you complete the module, is there going to be a chance to publish? Yes. Yes. So again, as I mentioned throughout the webinar, throughout the meeting, these modules are not just to learn the manuscript writing process. You both learn and you also get to publish. So again, there could possibly be other courses that, teach you the basics on how to write, or, could possibly, I don't know, but excuse me, with our modules here at IMG Helping Hands, as I've mentioned throughout the module as well, we not only pursue the publication. Again, not only do you get to publish, but we always like to think about what can we do next? How can we take this a step further? So yes, right. Short answer, yes, you do publish. The most common question that I receive from individuals is, what are the publication fees? Don't worry. That is completely, again, that is completely, in IMG Helping hands, no pun intended, because our goal here is to show you, the practicing, the learning of research writing, of manuscript creating, on the publication process, and so we do not want to add on that extra component, that extra consideration of additional publication. Like, no, you do get to pitch out and propose to your journal. It is proposed to said journals if it is agreed upon, but ultimately, regardless on whether that is the final journal that is chosen or not, yes, you do ultimately publish. So again, I do want to remind everybody that these modules are not a matter of if or possibly will they no, these all of our modules are proposed to high index journals. All of our modules do publish. And again, as another individual had asked earlier, again, with regards to the timing, depending on the timeline of the respective journal, then from there, that'll determine the overall publishing waiting period, so to say. But ultimately, you do publish, yes, not an if, but you do. So again, definitely another strength that you can add on to your CV, so that not only can you say that you have that research writing experience, but you can back it up with, again, that certificate of completion, with the publication once you are approved, once when the time comes. Because again, you do have that mentorship starting from day one up until you publish, in that waiting period. If you have any other questions for your mentor, during that waiting period, you can definitely ask your mentor any other questions that you have. They are your mentor. You have an individual there at your disposal who is knowledgeable and very eager to guide you throughout the research writing process. Definitely take advantage of it. Ask him any questions that you have regarding, your respective manuscript, the process, its respective process and everything. Because like I said, you do get published, and not only do you get published, but you get published to specialty specific journals. So again, I do hope that answers your question. And as I mentioned as well, no prior experience is necessary. This is what's ideal about our modules, is that whether or not you have prior research experience or not, again, everybody's welcome. We welcome everybody here so that you can participate, so that you can be part of not only learning, but practicing manuscript writing and publishing more than anything. So let me just go down and see if, yes, there are any other questions. And let me see. So Sarwar, yes. So they are high index journals. That is the first thing. If there is a requirement, and it's not for the participants, if there is a requirement that we have for anything, it is for the journals, and it is that they must be high index. The the PubMed journals are indexed. They are highly referenced journals as well. There have been instances where our manuscripts are the ones that are highly referenced, and so again, that's I think it's a very amazing feeling from, again, speaking from my past experience, not having any research experience at all, to having a published manuscript that is being referenced by others, is such an amazing feeling. And again, I speak on my experience, but this is also on past members' experiences as well. They get their work referenced, in instances, they get their work in conferences. They get, there's so many different opportunities that are being offered. So yes, again, to answer your question, Sarwar, I hope that answers your question. Yes, they are high index journals. And again, that is the only requirement that we have, but it is for the journals, not for you, for students, for doctors, for individuals who are looking to expand their research profile. Our requirement is that you have the initiative to learn, like I mentioned, and I keep mentioning it throughout the webinar. Again, I commend everybody for being here because you are showing your leadership, you're showing your initiative, your drive. That's really, if we have a requirement, that really would be the only requirement that we have. Like I said, you don't you don't need to have your boards done. You don't need to be a licensed or in this place or in that place. Again, we like to have as little limitations as possible because we want you to take advantage of these opportunities. So again, just to answer that. And then Saha, excellent question once again. And welcome, and thank you so much for asking as well. Thank you, everybody who is providing input, providing questions. Again, as I mentioned, just kind of in a nutshell, we do have, again, do keep in mind that we have different types of opportunities. Take advantage of them in our research community that I have posted. So the link that I've been posting is for our research community. That's the first step. Actually, the first step is, like I said, having the drive and leadership that you are showing, that is the first step. Secondly is joining that research community, because that's where we have all of our different opportunities on whether you will be partaking in a narrative review, a systematic review, one-to research review, a manuscript that is going for conference. Again, we have so many different opportunities that we offer. Take advantage of them because they do go by quickly. And so again, that is the first step. These are the first steps. And then once you are registered, once you are in your respective research, again, with your respective research group, again, it is going to be specialty based because you get to choose this yourself. You are with your group. You get tailored mentorship from your research mentor, somebody who has extensive research background. They will be showing you, teaching you the components, how to write, the structure, and so forth of your respective research manuscript. Again, whether you are doing narrative, systematic, you have it. They're going to be providing you with live lectures, but in addition to that, again, you can also go back and reference those lectures. You get to write out, again, as they are teaching you, you get to learn, you get to write out that manuscript along with your cohort. And then throughout the weeks, as I mentioned, could be 4 to 6 weeks, could be 6 to 8 weeks, depending on your topic. Again, as you go throughout that time, you do get that individualized support, that individualized guidance from your mentor, not just from your mentor, but also from your teammates, regardless of whether you have past experience or not. If there is a group and everybody has no research experience, your research mentor will tailor themselves to teach you, again, based on that experience. If there is a group and for some reason everybody has extensive past research experience, your mentor will guide you based on that too. And again, I think that is one of the more amazing components of the research groups. Again, regardless of your research level, everybody gets to write, everybody gets to write and contribute. And towards the end of the 6-week mark, again, you are given, I believe, like a proofreading session where you do get to finally proofread with your mentor. And then from there, not only are you proofreading, but you are also choosing a journal. What journal am I going to use? What journal am I going to propose the manuscript to? The manuscript that you created with your group, it is going to be proposed to XYZ journal. If it is a journal that you proposed, then it is not only going to be the journal that you created, or the manuscript that you created, but it's going to be in a journal that you wanted, or possibly a conference of the specialty that you are pursuing, So that's essentially the timeline of our research modules. I do want to remind you of that again. So from 4 to 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, writing, proofread, send it out to the journal. And then from there, it will be dependent on the journal's requirements, as I mentioned earlier, possibly journal specific requirements that they have. I know there was an instance where a journal returned the manuscript. They didn't reject it, but again, they gave us the input that the images had to be a certain dimension. And so again, some journals have very specific requirements. That was the only comment. And as soon as we modified the dimensions of the image, then we sent it back. But again, I do want to remind everybody that if you receive a response from your journal, after you propose it, that's not necessarily a rejection. Again, it's just because journals have specific requirements. And so again, you do pitch it out, you do receive that input, and then once you tailor it to the journal, goes back to journal, and then you just wait for, again, your publication notice. And so again, that's essentially the timeline. I hope that essentially makes sense, Saha. I hope that answers your question. I will be going through just the last few questions that we have here since we are almost at time, as I mentioned. And so with regards to the modules, they do come at an investment. So that is something I do want to mention as well. And again, being that some journals are proposed for certain things, the nature of the manuscript themselves, so that essentially is going to have an impact on the investment. Everybody, every venture is going to, have its own investment. And so I do want you to keep that in mind. But again, at the end of the day, it's not an investment to the manuscript or to the module, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's an investment to yourself, because all throughout this webinar, as I've been mentioning, you are doing this. Like I said, you're showing your leadership by being here, by taking advantage of the opportunities. You are investing in yourself as a prospective either postdoc applicant, as a prospective residency applicant, as a prospective competitive individual. So again, it is ultimately an investment in yourself. So yes, these modules do come at an investment, and that is an excellent question, Hafsa. And like I said, specifically, it would be dependent on the venture that you choose, whether you are doing the narrative review, the systematic review, or if you are doing a Wonder Research review, if you are being proposed to a conference. Again, all of that, when the time comes, we can definitely go from there. Now, do we have anything for pathology, for lab medicine? Again, we do have Noreen, thank you once again for the excellent question, Noreen. Again, all of our topics, all of our current available topics are going to be shared in the research community. So again, I do want to invite everybody once again to join the research community if you haven't already. That's where we're going to be sharing all of our topics, all of our current topics, all of our upcoming topics, or if you have a topic that you want to propose. Let's say, for example, we share a list of topics. Maybe you don't see your specialty there. Perhaps the next list will have it. And if you don't see it, definitely let us know, because again, we want to support you in your professional pursuits. There have been times where students, like I said, have told me, I'm looking for plastic surgery. I'm looking for pediatrics. We pitch it out to the team. And again, we work with you so that we can accommodate topics that are relevant to your specialty. So again, the first step in everything is being part of that research community. Definitely let us know what you're interested in. So again, being that there may or may not be pathology related in the group, again, being part of the group, you'll get to see all of our topics, and then we can go from there. And like I said, if there isn't a topic yet, I'll definitely be proposing it to the group. So if there's a topic, again, before we finish today's webinar, if there is a topic or if there is a specialty that you're pursuing, I'm eager to hear, what you're interested in pursuing. As Noreen mentioned, you are pursuing pathology. You are pursuing pathology. If anybody is interested in pathology as well, I'm eager to hear all about it. Are you interested in somebody who's doing cardiology? Are you interested in pediatrics, neuro, so forth? Again, I'm really eager to hear what everybody is pursuing. And like I said, we do listen. We do take these comments into mind because we do want to continue supporting you. So yes, last question. Yes, Shoaib. So with regards to, let's say if you are encountered, let's say you do encounter a rejection, you do continue receiving that mentored support. So like I said, the support you receive is from day one, since starting from the day you are introduced into your group, all the way up until you publish. And if for some reason there is a rejection, like I said, as I mentioned earlier, it's not about whether there is a better journal, over others. When it comes to picking journals, you are given, let's say, like, for example, option A, B, C. And if for some reason option A does not work as we expected, we go to option B. And this is why we have the different journals that we would be proposing the work to, all of them being high index journals, possibly being a journal that you want to participate in. Your mentor will be there. You are going to have that support from your team, support from your mentor. You are going to be having that support starting from day one up until the day you publish. So Noreen, of course, it's such a pleasure. Thank you so much for your comment, Noreen. And Shoaib, I hope that answers your question. I will be wrapping it up here, guys. And so I do want to thank again everybody for being here. If there's no further questions, I will be ending the webinar now. I do, like I said, want to remind you once again, welcome you into our research community group. I am really eager to just really share all the opportunities that we have available with you. And again, just getting started with continuing and making you as strong of an applicant as possible. All right. And Saha, like I mentioned, the mentors you will be getting to know at the start of your mentorship. And with regards to the investment, again, it all depends on the pursuit. Again, depending on whether you do a narrative review, systematic, whether it is proposed for conference and so forth. So again, I do just want to remind you on that. And again, thank you so much, everybody. Again, thank you for showing your leadership, showing your initiative. Keep going, keep being leaders, keep putting yourself out there once again, guys. Again, this was not, uh, necessarily for me, but but this is mostly praising you. And this is not just this is not a showcase of us, but like I said, it's a showcase of you, of your leadership, of your persistence, of your determination. So again, I do want to commend everybody. Thank you for joining us in today's webinar. I hope everybody continues having a wonderful day, afternoon, evening. We'll continue keeping in touch. Don't forget to stay connected, and I will see you guys in the next one.